Hello everyone, I am Plankera, and welcome to my universe. Today, I'm going to continue rigging Shalom from Path to Nowhere. I was looking at how things were moving again this morning, and I'm wondering if the eyes are a little bit high up still, so I'm going to try moving them down a click or two. Oh, is that supposed to be like that? I noticed that this is moving on the X direction by 1. But I guess it's supposed to. Okay. I won't worry about it. So let's move this down to like 30. And I'll do the same over here. 30 is a nice round number, so that seems... that'll make things a little bit nicer, right? I don't actually know. But I want to try it because I've just felt like something has been slightly off in the eyes for a while now. Or something got slightly off in her face. And I actually do think that helped a little bit. Okay, cool. Back to hair. I have indulged my face-based curiosity. Now then. Last time I was working on the side bang over here. And I still think I have that looking pretty okay. I'm gonna move this little part of the strand a little bit forward, but I think everything else looks alright. So just right through here. Make that just a little bit straighter right through here. And then try to get the width of the highlight there a little bit more consistent. Just some minor touch-ups there. Okay. Not sure if I like the shape. I might have to do some more shenanigans with that, but let's take a look at it first. Yeah, just a few more shenanigans. But otherwise, I think things are looking pretty okay. And I'll continue moving down this strand today. So let's see if I can get all the way to the bottom. And just have everything looking nice. Okay. So, moved that over a little bit. Let's go ahead and check. And I do think that is much better. There's still some stuff with how this little spot right here is moving, but that's in areas I haven't touched yet, so... Well, let's go ahead and touch them now. Yeah, I think this strand is looking alright. I think everything above it is looking alright. So I guess that means it's time to move on to the next thing. Let's go. So yesterday, my next sinner to reach 80% compliance and thus making me do their interrogation was 11. Or 11, excuse me. Sometimes I still pronounce the E. And she was always kind of an interesting one for me, because the time that her event initially came out was about a month before I started streaming. So some of the things that it talked about there just hit me hard. Because one of my personal worries about streaming was actually that I would have to make stuff up, would have to create this false version of myself that would be more presentable to people. And that was actually a little bit scary. Of basically the idea of turning your identity into a commodity. It is a little bit scary. Can speak from experience there. Fortunately, I haven't had to do anything like that. I do not have any managers or the like. So I've just been able to kind of do what I want. So I fortunately have not fallen into that trap. I've not had to worry about it. So, her interrogation kind of covered a lot of the same kind of themes. Just kind of putting a little ending on her event, I suppose, so I enjoyed it overall. I thought hers was one of the better ones. One of the better interrogations, that is. I've actually heard that people didn't like Levin's event that much, on the CN side at least. And I was always really surprised, because I thought it was pretty well done. It was a simple little story, but... it definitely hit me right in the feels. And I think only part of that is due to my circumstances. I can see where, let me back up a second. I've talked about this before, but one of the things that makes me like the writing in Path to Nowhere overall is that sometimes I can feel the people that write these events just screaming something into these events. Like, they're writing these things that are just like, hear me, readers, hear me. So I can tell that all the stories that they're presenting mean something to them. This is something that they want to say. And it's something close to their hearts. And I am not the least bit surprised that something dealing with the suppression of self is a theme that would mean something to someone in China as it currently stands. Because I'm under the impression that East Asian workforces are a bit rough sometimes in that regard. Or you just gotta do what you're told and not really think about it too much. I feel that sort of thing here out in the West too. Definitely feel it hard. I've never considered myself that hard to work with, but a lot of people disagree. Because I am loud and opinionated. So the thought that I might have to make stuff up to get viewers, or that I might have to cultivate a particular personality in order to actually be able to get viewers and, you know, stuff related to that. That was all stuff that I thought about for a while, and I'm glad that none of it's really come to pass. I've just been able to do what I want. This is the kind of thing that I see from a lot of VTubers that work at a corporation too. Just some of the stuff that they seem to have to do. And a lot of the drama that comes up periodically. I haven't been lurking with in too many VTuber communities lately, so I haven't heard much about it, but I'm sure that something will happen again. And I'll just be like, man, that's disturbing. It's like, when you really think about it, the corpo VTubers don't have control over their IP, basically. Like, their characters don't belong to them, they belong to the corporation. And that just seems like the corporation controls a large portion of their identity. Which, that's the part that I find a little bit terrifying. So yeah, I liked Levin's interrogation a lot. And in general, I've enjoyed her themes. And I have to say, she was pretty funny over in LL's event as well. Where I got to see a little bit of that, where people are finally listening to her. And, she maybe goes a little bit power mad. I thought that was pretty funny, too. I liked LL's event. It was a simple event, but that's okay. Not all events need to have some super complex storyline. It was definitely a cute little summer event. Alright, so far so good on the hair. I'm just trying to get this highlight to line up again. I did a little work on the tip right through there. I just kind of wanted to straighten it out, but I don't think I have it in the right spot. Yeah, it's not lining up at all through here. And I'm changing the shape of the outside a little bit too much. Okay, so I still got some stuff to do. That's fine. I apparently just got distracted talking about all these things. Probably should have checked it out a little bit sooner. That's okay. I think... I guess it's an upside and a downside. When I get distracted while doing art stuff, it does mean the art stuff takes longer, but on the other hand, it means I'm having a good time. Just talking about stuff. I guess if I want to relate things back to Levin, I don't mind having the same kind of vibe she was going for in her radio show. I am more than happy to talk with you about your worries or your problems, or just listen to anything you have to say. And I hope that I too can help you unwind after a long day, or have a nice relaxing morning. Either or, since we have reached a point in history where a person's voice can travel across the globe. I think that's pretty cool too. What technology has done for humanity is certainly an incredible thing. And I can just casually talk with people all over the world. I've had friends from, numerous places. Knew someone from Taiwan, someone from, South Africa. Had several friends from Canada and the United States and, Britain, and a couple from France, and... just everywhere. Everywhere. The internet's great. I love it. We can reach so many more people than we could even just 50 years ago. Alright, let's get this strand into place. So right now I have kind of her side hair over here hidden, so we've got a little bit of a bald Shalom there. Got a little bit of a funny haircut today. It's okay. Doing that makes it that much easier for me to see what's going on. This way I can't get distracted. Just had to find the layer there. I don't know why the side bang always eludes me, and it always takes me a second in order to find it through my giant stack of layers. But it happens a lot. I'm not sure why I have a blind spot just right there. Like, it doesn't even matter what part of the screen that I put it on. My eyes just glaze over it for some reason. It's very funny. Brains are kind of funny like that. I kind of wish I understood what makes things like that happen. Like, in this case, it's not even so much to make it stop, it's just because I think it's weird and kind of funny. And I want to know why it happens. It's idle curiosity. Okay. So this is kind of an interesting thing, because I was trying to line up the height of this little spot right here, the top of the highlight, with how it is in the lower turn, and that I think looks fine. And I think it looks mostly okay here. I need to adjust some things there, but, you know, that's fine. But when I look at it from the diagonal, it looks very strange. It goes a little bit too far down. So it's almost like... Let's see, it should be... According to the diagonal, once I find the layer again, there we go. Like, more like this. Maybe a little bit lower than that. Oh yeah, I needed to be a little bit higher up and a little bit more to the side. At least according to the diagonal. We'll see if that's accurate. But if that is accurate, then that means I need to adjust the lower turn quite a lot. But that does look like 100 times better than what I had before. Although no, it actually lines up, still. How odd. Okay, well, magic happened, so I'm not gonna question it. I'll still need to line it up with the right head turn. But I don't know. It just kind of worked out. Like I said, magic happened. I'm not gonna question it. Sometimes art is on my side. And it says, don't worry, Plankara. Today you don't have to struggle as much. Man, lining this up is proving to be difficult. This highlight I've always found to be one of the harder spots. And let's see, now that I look at it, I'm not entirely satisfied with how this strand is moving across the diagonal. So I'm gonna go ahead and change its shape just a little bit here. I go in and adjust it just a little bit. I'm probably pushing this poor little strand around and maybe part of the highlight too. Bit of collateral damage, but it's okay. I'll fix it up when the time comes. Everything will be fine. Everything works out in the end. I told you, man, my brain just skips over this layer for some reason. It's always this one. Alright, so let's clean this up now, get everything nice and straight, have it follow a nice, steady curve. All the stuff that I normally do. So I've been doing my weekly speed paints for a while. I still like doing them, so I'm gonna keep doing it. But, I've been going over my usual time limit almost every time for the past, like, few weeks now. And it's because I keep wanting to draw more things. I really have to rein myself in a little bit there, I think. Just so I can fit it within within the time limit. Yesterday was especially interesting because my kids woke up early. So I kind of had to finish the last little bit of it with, while occasionally being assaulted by tiny humans who wanted attention. But I managed it. I got it all done. So that was interesting. And that definitely slowed me down a bit. So I'm realizing that if I want to continue my quest to draw faster, I'm gonna have to get a little bit more deliberate with it, so I might do some research this week. See what I can figure out. Because half the goal there is a rapid iteration and trying some things, being able to look around and see what worked well, see what didn't, and learn from that. And then the other half is, I just want to draw faster. I want to draw much, much faster. So I will be trying some stuff there for next week. Let's see what I can figure out. I figure it might take me a few tries to really get the hang of being able to draw what I want very quickly. But I'll get there eventually. Just gotta keep trying. It's just really hard because when it comes to, well, most things I do, really, I tend to be a little bit on the slower side. I personally think that my growth follows more of an exponential curve, where I need to assimilate a bunch of information into my mind. And then once I do, it just kind of goes steep. And I progress very quickly. But man, getting over that initial hump is always a bit rough. Figuring out what I need to know. Because, like, I mean, even that can be hard, too, because, like, in this particular instance, it seems fairly straightforward. It's like, to draw faster, you just have to, do the things that I'm already doing, just faster. But it's not that easy. It's really not. And I'm not quite sure what I'm doing wrong in that regard. Or what I should look at in order to draw a little bit faster. I don't know. And that makes it hard to figure out what to do, because I just genuinely do not know. So I'm gonna have to figure that out first. Only way to do that is to try things. Just keep trying. I'm sure I will figure it out eventually. Someday, I believe. And there's just something really not satisfying me with how things are moving on the diagonal. And the diagonal is probably the most important spot here, so I really want to pay attention to it. I just find myself completely unsatisfied here. Alright, so you know what that means. I just gotta keep trying things. Try to identify the problem, and then gradually move everything into place. Maybe I should not clean it up quite so much, while I'm still trying to figure out what's going on here. Because yeah, that's not right either. Because things definitely have to go a little bit further this way. We'll just leave things a little bit wavy while I figure this out. I might have to clean it up a little bit more than that, but... Okay, this time I'm going to straighten it out a little bit more, just so I can check it a little bit better. It's always hard to know if something is actually working the way I want it to, when everything is just squirming really hard. So, like, when I see that there's a bunch of spots that just look terribly, terribly wrong. Okay, but this is looking a little bit better. It's now just this little area around the highlight. Let's see if I can get that in place. Okay, I still feel like right here is squirming a little bit. Okay, that seems a little bit better. Let me see, about how much of the hair does this thing cover up on this side? A little bit more than half, I'd say. So that means I probably want it to go about to right here. Okay. Just gonna do a little bit of measuring there. Because there are these kind of dark spots along the transition there. I wanted to get them all in the right spot. And these were pulled out to cover specific areas, so I think that is actually all correct. So let's do some more testing. Oh dear. I do not have it right. See it immediately, and I'm just, oh dear. Okay. So yeah, some of those little dark spots around the transition there. Not in the right spot. So let's see, what I'm looking at right now, there's some dark spots right around here that I'm looking at, and I also want to get the angle on this highlight right. It is definitely not right yet. I'm just kind of doing one thing at a time. But I think that's the priority for now, if I want to be able to get everything to move right. It just takes a bit of time, and like I said earlier, I tend to just be a little bit slow in general. It's the way it's always been. I am very much more of a slow and steady kind of person. Might take me a while to get there, but I'll get there. And sometimes, because I just keep going, I get there faster than a lot of people. That's why I have my house paid off. Okay, I do think that's closer. Hold on. Leg's falling asleep. Okay, there we go. Needed to adjust my position there. It's like you don't see them because I only show the upper body, but I do in fact have legs. They're there, and they do some wiggling. I actually kind of had fun rigging the legs because I made no effort to make it make sense. I just had a good time. Okay, so I think I have a lot of that stuff in the right place now. I'm gonna go ahead and clean up the strand once again. Let me make sure that things are lining up here too. Not really. Oh dear, okay. Hello, Luminance. How are you doing today? Okay, so this means I have some things to work out if this is not lining up at all with either of the turns. Nice. What are you eating? So let's see, gonna clean a little bit of this up. Some of it I think got slid up while I was moving a bunch of stuff around. So I will start with that, but then I have to decide which areas do I fix. Because I imagine the entire problem is not with the lower right turn. But I do think that comparing this to the diagonal is valuable information. Understandable. I imagine it's extra hard while you're eating fried chicken. That tends to be a little bit greasy. Fried chicken is yummy, though. Well, I hope you enjoy your chicken. I'm largely just trying to figure out what about this particular area is leaving me unhappy with how it's looking. There's just little things here and there. But it's an important area. It's right by her eyes. So I want to make sure I get it right. And my brain can never quite decide what shape this strand should take, if it should kind of curve outwards or be more straight. So that's why I'm kind of doing it halfway. At the moment, I'm waiting to see exactly how I think it should look. And I'm also avoiding cleaning it up too much, just because I already know it doesn't line up with the bottom turn or the right turn, so that means that there's something wrong somewhere. And I haven't quite figured out where that is yet, so I need to do that. And that means getting everything perfectly smooth is kind of pointless right now. Oh, hold on, sneeze. Okay. Sneeze done. Okay, well, at least this particular issue I do think is a problem with the lower rights. That'll be easy to fix. This area just got a little bit skinny when I was going through and cleaning up some stuff. So once I thicken this out just a bit there, I think that'll be better. Okay, so starting with an easy one. Just accidentally changed the shape of the hair when I was doing some stuff earlier. No problem. How many monitors do I have? Just hooked up to this computer too. But I have other computers, each have their own monitor, so I end up having more than that. I like computers. So they are everywhere. It's okay, they all have slightly different purposes. This one's my main one. And I actually only got a second monitor for it so I could read chat more easily. Because before I was having to just have the YouTube chat always on top somewhere on my screen, and that was a little annoying. So I hooked up a second monitor to it. And then I have a computer directly to my right that runs Linux. And I do Linux stuff on it. I haven't needed to use it for anything for a while, but it's fine. Maybe someday I'll get my certification. And then I have a laptop that I could also draw on, which is pretty cool. And then a laptop that I do stuff with my husband with. So many computers everywhere. It's a lovely place. Not at all. I am the type of person that does not like leaving my house. Like, having kids actually got me to get out of my house more than anything else ever did. My daughter likes to go to the park, so I like to take her to the park. But no, I've always really disliked traveling. Anytime that I've had to do it, or when my parents took me on vacation when I was a tiny human. Never much cared for it. I think that's part of why I like the internet so much too, because I can get a lot of what people get out of traveling just from doing stuff online. Get to meet all kinds of cool people from lots of different places and talk to them about what living where they live is like and that kind of thing. All that is pretty cool. How about you? Is there any place that you've wanted to go? Okay. So I think I've at least worked out the issue that I was looking at before. Although maybe not quite. Let's take a look here. Okay, there's a small bump here that I think actually looks better in the lower right, so I'll just go ahead and clean that up here. Looks like my scroll wheel's starting to freak out again. So sometimes it starts scrolling up when it should be scrolling down, and so I zoom out instead of zooming in. Very sad. Yep. It's like I can last fine, but I don't know. Typically when I'm traveling, after like the second or maybe third day, if I'm really having a good time, I just want to go home. I got stuff I want to do. Home is where all my stuff is. Don't worry about it, I figured. I remember when my mom and my stepdad, because my parents split up when I was very young. But yes, when the two of them would take me somewhere, I'd take my computer and then they'd always give me a hard time for just doing stuff on the computer again. Instead of doing things that apparently should be doing when I'm on vacation or whatever. But it's like, no, the computer stuff is what I want to do. Yep, if my computer was in my room, that's probably where I'd be too, but my computer's in the basement. Because that's where I put it. But it's different for me. Because now I am the adult and the house is mine, in theory. Personally, I still feel like the tiny ones are the ones that control the house, but... Well, I mean, I share my bedroom with my husband for one, but for two, I actually do not like having technology in the place where I sleep. Because something that I found that actually helped my sleep considerably is when I started only using my bedroom for sleeping. Like, I keep nothing else up there. So this way, when I go up the stairs, my brain knows it's time to go to bed. And I actually start getting a little bit drowsier as I walk up the stairs now. It's a pretty good feeling. But I have had severe problems with chronic insomnia since I was about 8, so I have to do these things in order to help me sleep. But I mean, in general, I think it's all different when you're the one that owns the house. Like, I don't live in my parents' house. I live in my house. Plankera. Why I named my character that? It's nerdy beyond belief, but basically, I consider this character to be a personification of the Big Bang. And thus, I named her after, literally Planck era. The first, fraction of a second after the Big Bang, when the universe was going through its rapid expansion and basically becoming what it is now. It's pretty cool. If you Google it, you'll get a lot of cool space facts. Not a lot is known about the birth of the universe, but everything that we know is really cool and really weird. Dude, space is great. It's like, man, if you're ever worried about any fantasy storytelling that you do being too weird, just spend 5 minutes researching space, and you'll feel better immediately, because it's nonsense. It's absolutely crazy. I'm trying to think of a good example now of just some stuff that's nonsense. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is just that humanity clearly does not understand something about time. Like, time is clearly not what we think it is. And it's not how we perceive it. Because one thing that we've actually been able to physically observe is, where do I start? So, a long time ago, some star went supernova in some distant galaxy. And people on Earth were able to see it. And as you know, it takes well, maybe you don't, but it takes a light a really long time to travel distances that far. So, even though it went supernova, we didn't see it until, like, you know, several thousand years later, of course. And, but, how do I describe this? Due to some of the other stuff out in the solar systems, like, or out in the universe, like black holes and other stuff that bends and distorts light, we saw the same supernova again. Like we have observed the supernova twice, and we know it's the same one. I don't remember the exact details on how we know it's the same one, but it's the same one. We have seen it multiple times. That star has died multiple times, if we trust our senses, but of course that's not how it works, because space-time is an absolute nonsense. Or the idea that if you, say, got on a spaceship that was traveling at the speed of light, and finished high school in the spaceship, so 3 or 4 years, it's like that time passed, and when you went home, came back to Earth and went to go see all your friends, 60 years would have passed for them. I believe that's roughly the number. So, yeah, time is wild. And while humanity has never been able to do anything exactly like that, we can still observe it on a smaller scale. Like, in order to properly keep track of time on the satellites we have up in orbit, we have to add a thing that changes how fast time goes by for those satellites. Or at least how fast it calculates it, rather. Because if we didn't, over the course of a day, I think that the clocks would be off by, I forget if it was 7 minutes or 7 seconds. But they were off. And so we had to add some way to calculate that, and that's just because of the effect of gravity being less on stuff in space, more or less. I'm sure I'm getting some of the details wrong. I am not an expert, just someone that thinks space is cool. But there you go. Time is a lie. And there is so much we can learn out there. So much that's unknown, and so much that'll tell us about how we could... how we should see the world, and let us know more about how our planet and how our lives actually work, and all that good stuff. I know a lot of people think that space exploration is like superfluous. I cannot talk. And that we shouldn't do it, but I've always found that to be an incredibly depressing take. There's just so much out there, and every little nugget of knowledge that we can get that can tell us about how the world works and how we can navigate it will just make our lives that much better. But yes, this is the kind of stuff that I could ramble about for a while. And I do think that a lot of stuff going on in space does show us just how little we understand about the world still. Like, we consider our technology super amazing, and don't get me wrong, it is super amazing. But there's just a lot of things that don't make sense and don't quite line up with our current understanding of the world, and a lot of that becomes very apparent when you either look at things very large, so space, or things that are very small. So that would be quantum mechanics and a lot of subatomic stuff. So talking stuff even smaller than atoms. A lot of stuff in quantum mechanics is just absolute nonsense, too. And what makes it even better is that our current main theories of quantum mechanics and relativity for space, they don't match. Like, what makes sense in quantum mechanics does not make sense when you get onto a large scale and all of that. So I guess you could say the holy grail for theoretical physics right now is a grand unified theory where quantum mechanics and relativity make sense together. There are a bunch of things that we know are true. We can observe them, but they do not make sense together. And it's very funny. So there is still so much in this world left to explore. So much that we still don't know. And honestly, I think it makes life kind of exciting still. Alright. So it took me a little while to figure out what was wrong with some of this, but I think everything is looking much nicer now. Still got a lot of stuff to line up, but it is better than it was, and now that little highlight is starting to look okay too. I at least feel like I have all of these little pieces in a good spot. So now I just gotta get them all the right width. So on to the next adventure. One thing I can say with art and just creating things in general means life is never boring, because there's always something else to do. Might have to consult the mesh for this one. That's not that bad, actually. I think it might just be a distortion getting magnified, because I need to make that area larger. But still, I'll go ahead and consult the mesh. Yep, I think that's just shenanigans. There was like a little spot right there that I wasn't entirely happy with, but now that I look at it, the little spot is also right here, so... Oh, got another seize coming. Alright. Sneezy today, I'm not quite sure why. I guess my nose is convinced that there was a foreign invader in there, and wants to tell it to get out. Alright. So I feel like I've gotten that highlight into place. Just got a tiny little spot that I want to clean up down here. But otherwise, the highlight is good, and I think I'll do the down to the tip of the strand a little bit after. I think I'll do a little bit more, but will probably end soon. We'll see how much more I want to do. I think I will hide. There's like a tiny strand over here somewhere. Where are you? You. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of that one for now. It was being a little bit distracting. So now I want to start lining all this up with the right turn and the lower turn. Very important. And I think once I do that, that will be where I end for today. But I do want to try to line some of the stuff up and make it all look very nice. Fortunately, a lot of it is already largely like that. So far, I think everything is lining up pretty nicely, so there actually isn't that much to do. The hard part is just going to be getting the strand right. But I do think I want to take a stab at getting the strand at least relatively in the right place before I stop. Okay, so I feel like the top of this highlight here and the strand right above it are a little bit too low here. Just a teeny tiny bit though. So I don't think I have to do any drastic adjustments here, just lift this up just a little. Maybe something like that. Let me make sure that lines up with the lower right before I do anything else. Yes. And indeed, that was all I needed to do. So I guess I'll go clean that up now. Make the strand look a little bit nicer and smoother. Today, I worked a little bit more absent-mindedly than usual, so I ended up pulling around in a bunch of vertices that I probably didn't need to. Didn't move quite as quickly as I normally do, but that's okay. I can afford to take my time here. Where I'm part 180-something, what's another one? Alright, now let's watch all this closely once the autosave stops helping me out. There's a little point, yeah, right over here where I think I just need to straighten out those triangles, and I think that'll actually fix the issue. But I was just noticing that I wasn't entirely liking the transition of all the colors around there. Then it turns out the triangles were just pointing in the wrong direction. Now everything's fine. Hooray! I love it when things work out like that. It's wonderful. Alright, time to adjust the tip of that strand there. I'll worry about getting it smooth tomorrow, but I kind of want it roughly in place today. That is kind of the hope. Alright, now I think it is roughly in place. I just wanted to get it to curl a little bit more nicely. Alright. I think that should look pretty good once I clean it up. I think that's at least the hardest parts of the side bang there. All done, and then hopefully tomorrow I can actually get the tips. The tips don't look too bad overall. This one looks kind of bad, but the other one's not bad. So I don't think I have too much to fix there, and it's all even lined up with the other angles pretty well. So that's pretty sweet. So hopefully I can finish that up tomorrow. But for today, I think this is where I will end. So thank you all for coming, and I hope you're able to make something wonderful today. I'll see you all tomorrow.